Sumerian tablets are probably one of the oldest form of a written record that we have.
What if an ancient Sumerian tablet claimed that humanity was not the first intelligent species to walk the earth? According to a controversial translation of a little-known clay tablet known as CBS 10673, 5 different species existed before humans ever appeared. Each one ruled its own era, each met a different fate, and together they form a pattern that some believe carries a warning for our own civilization. The most unsettling part is that the 5th and final species may have destroyed itself through knowledge and technology that sound surprisingly familiar today. The tablet that challenges human history. The story begins in 1893 during excavations at the ancient Sumerian city of Nippur. Among thousands of clay fragments recovered from the site was a tablet later catalogued as CBS 10673. At first, it attracted very little attention. Researchers classified it as part of a creation narrative and translated only a small portion of the text. The rest remained untouched for decades, while scholars focused on better preserved artifacts. Everything changed in 2004, when a team reportedly completed a full translation. What they found surprised them. The tablet was not describing the creation of humanity. It was describing what came before humanity. According to the translation, 5 distinct species existed before humans arrived. Each species is given a name, a description, a purpose, and a specific reason for extinction. Unlike traditional myths that focus on gods creating mankind, this text presents Earth as a world that had already seen multiple eras of life before humans appeared. One species vanished, another emerged, and the cycle continued until humanity eventually entered the story. Whether the text is historical, symbolic, or purely mythological remains a matter of debate. But the descriptions are detailed enough that many readers have noticed similarities between the tablet's accounts and discoveries made by modern science thousands of years later. Let's take a look at the 5 species the tablet claims came before us. 1. The Uldu. The first species is called the Uldu, a name often translated as the primordial shapers. According to the tablet, these beings lived during the earliest age of the world. They were associated with water and stone, and were said to move without legs and build without hands. The description is vague, but the text portrays them as creatures that existed long before the world became recognizable to later forms of life. Their purpose was simple. They prepared the ground. The tablet suggests that the Uldu shaped the environment itself, creating the conditions necessary for the species that followed. Some believe it resembles a description of catastrophic environmental change affecting the oceans. Others see it as symbolic language common in ancient mythology. Whatever the intended meaning, the result was the same. The Uldu vanished. Their era ended, and a new species inherited the world. 2. The Gurgle. The second species is known as the Gurgle, often translated as great boned forms. Unlike the mysterious Uldu, the Gurgle are described in more physical terms. They walked on land, consumed vegetation, and possessed enormous skeletons. The tablet compares their bones to the pillars of temples. The imagery immediately suggests gigantic creatures unlike anything alive today. For a long period, the Gurgle dominated the world prepared by the Uldu. Then disaster struck. The tablet describes their extinction with a striking phrase, "Fire from the outer darkness." Some readers have compared this description to an asteroid impact or other celestial catastrophe. Skeptics argue that such interpretations project modern ideas onto ancient texts. Regardless of how it is interpreted, the tablet portrays the event as sudden and devastating. The great-boned beings disappeared, leaving only memories of their existence behind. 3. The Ashmarga. The third species is perhaps the most unusual of all. The tablet calls them the Ashmarga. Unlike the giant Gurgle, the Ashmarga were small, numerous, and highly organized. They lived collectively and functioned almost as a single entity. One line describes them as beings that thought with one body. It is a remarkable phrase. Rather than emphasizing individual intelligence, the text focuses on cooperation and collective behavior. The Ashmagar built extensive structures from the earth itself and spread across the world in enormous numbers. According to the tablet, their downfall came when the breath of the world changed. Unlike the previous extinctions, this one was not caused by fire or catastrophe. Instead, the environment itself transformed. The tablet says their structures survived, but the builders did not. Whatever change occurred, the Ashmagar could not adapt to it. Over time, they disappeared completely. Their extinction serves as a reminder that even the most successful species can be vulnerable when the conditions that support them suddenly change. 4. The Lunakur. The fourth species is where the story begins to feel surprisingly familiar. Known as the Lunakur, they are described as the near humans. According to the tablet, they walked upright, used stone tools, wore animal skins, and lived in caves. They buried their dead. They hunted. They communicated through sounds that carried meaning. Yet the text insists they were not fully human. Physically, the Lunakur were stronger than modern humans. They possessed thicker bones, heavier skulls, and more robust bodies. The similarities to what we now know about Neanderthals have led many readers to take special interest in this section of the tablet. The most fascinating aspect of their story is how they vanished. There was no great catastrophe, no fire from the sky, no environmental collapse. Instead, the tablet says that the new ones came. As humans spread across the world, the Lunakur gradually became fewer in number. Generation after generation, their populations declined. Eventually, the last of them disappeared. The wording is almost poetic. The tablet says they grew fewer and fewer until the last of them slept and did not wake. For many readers, this is one of the most haunting passages in the entire text. 5. The Unshaga. The fifth and final species is also the most disturbing. The tablet calls them the Unshaga, often translated as those of the inner heaven. Unlike the previous species, the text focuses less on appearance and more on capability. According to the tablet, the Unshaga possessed advanced knowledge. They understood mathematics, observed the stars, communicated across great distances, and developed technologies beyond simple tools. In many ways, they sound less like an ancient species and more like a civilization. The tablet claims they mastered knowledge that previous species never possessed. But according to the story, that knowledge became their downfall. The text states that the Unshaga reached for the fire of the gods. What exactly that means remains unclear. Yet the consequences are described in alarming detail. The fire consumed them. The land became glass. The water became poison. Their descendants suffered for generations. The fifth extinction is the only one that appears self-inflicted, and that may be why it occupies such a prominent place on the tablet. The warning hidden in the 5 extinctions. When viewed together, the 5 species reveal a pattern. Each one becomes more complex than the last. The Uldu shaped the world. The Gurgle dominated the land. The Ashmagar mastered collective survival. The Lunakur approached humanity. The Unshaga developed advanced knowledge and technology. Each step represents an increase in capability, yet every species ultimately vanished. The tablet does not present extinction as an accident. Instead, it portrays it as part of a recurring cycle. What makes the final entry so unsettling is that humanity appears to stand closest to the Unshaga. Like them, we study the stars. Like them, we build advanced technologies. Like them, we constantly push the boundaries of what is possible. Whether the story is myth, symbolism, or something else entirely, the implication is difficult to ignore. The greatest threat to a civilization may not come from nature. It may come from the civilization itself. Perhaps that is the true purpose of the tablet. Not to tell us about the past, but to make us think about the future. What do you think about the 5 species described on this mysterious Sumerian tablet? Are they symbolic figures from ancient mythology, forgotten memories preserved through legend, or something more? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more ancient mysteries and hidden history. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.